How's it going there, mandolin player? In today's lesson, we're going to be checking out another version of the tune Roanoke. This time, we're taking more of a look at how the man himself, Bill Monroe, would play this tune, as opposed to the other version that we've released, which is more of a fiddle tune melody. Now, you may be wondering right now already, what's the difference between these two, and why is it worth kind of diving into learning both of these versions? Well, stay tuned. We're going to describe all that here in just a few seconds. Before we go ahead and dive into the lesson though, if you haven't had a chance, hit that subscribe button below and the bell notification button. That way you'll get notified whenever we upload a new lesson here to the Mandolin Secrets channel. Also, if you're interested in things like PDFs of the tab and sheet music for all of our lessons, check out the link below to Mandolin Secrets Academy. There you're going to find not only PDFs, but backing tracks and access to our community of music makers and learners just like you. Okay, so like I said at the beginning of this video, why would we maybe want to learn the Monroe version in addition to the fiddle version of the melody? Well, before we get into any of that stuff, let me show you the full rendition of this Monroe version of Roanoke at 260 beats per minute, just so you can get the melody in your ears, and then we'll go into kind of like a little comparison between the Monroe version and the fiddle melody afterward. Here we go. Okay, my friend, so that is the Monroe version for you. Now, if you've had a chance to look at kind of the standard fiddle version of the melody, you'll notice some key differences, and I really only need to use the first couple bars of this tune to showcase what I'm talking about here. So the fiddle version of the melody goes a little bit like this. So that's the first phrase. Now check out what Monroe plays. Without getting too technical and describing exactly all the notes I'm playing on my left hand, you probably just noticed that in the Monroe version, my left hand is moving less than in the fiddle version, and I think that's a real key point to kind of pick up on. This has to do with a concept that I like to call the skeleton melody. And this is essentially just kind of like the most essential notes in a fiddle tune that kind of prop up the tune and contain the essence and spirit of that tune. In my opinion, Monroe is kind of focusing more on those skeleton melody notes, or pillar tones, you may hear them called sometime, whereas the fiddle players are adding some kind of passing notes in between all of the skeleton melody notes for the tune. Just to give you an idea, this is what I think the skeleton melody, or a version of the skeleton melody, would sound like for those first couple bars. So with that in mind, you can kind of hear how the Monroe version, he's just kind of adding eighth notes to the right hand to phrase that skeleton melody. And the fiddle melody is adding those passing tones. Etc. So I just wanted to give you an idea of maybe why the Monroe version and the fiddle version sound like Roanoke, but they're two different things. Another thing that I want to describe real quick before we dive into our breakdown of the tune is the B part to this Monroe version. Now, Monroe decides not to play one bit of the melody for the B part, but instead plays this almost boogie-woogie blues type kind of lick. And I think that it's kind of cool to point out that the man who wrote the tune himself, or had a large hand in it, we'll say, decides to kind of deviate from the melody and give us something a little different on the B part. So without even describing any of that, let's go ahead and dive into kind of a faster mid-tempo, I guess we'll call it, rendition of this tune at 150 beats per minute. But stay tuned though. If that's a little too fast for you, you can either hit that gear icon below and slow that down, or wait a few seconds and I'm going to give you a version of this tune at 100 beats per minute right after that, okay? Let's go ahead and dive into the slow tutorial of this one at 150 beats per minute. Kick back, watch my hands, and then maybe pause the video and go back and try and play along, okay? Here we go. Okay, my friend, now that you've got an idea for how this tune goes at 150 beats per minute, let's go ahead and slow the tempo down a little bit more just so you can see those fine left hand movements and right hand articulations that I'm doing here. As always, if 100 beats per minute is still too fast, don't hesitate to hit that gear icon and slow the video down to a speed that's more appropriate for you. That's the great thing that we have about modern technology. And this is a tool that I use all the time, in fact, so I would highly suggest you do the same. All right, here we go. Roanoke at 100 beats per minute, Monroe version. Let's do it. Okay, my friend, that is it for the Bill Monroe version of Roanoke. One thing I totally forgot to mention at the beginning of this video is kind of where I got this version of the tune. This is a little a bit of a grab bag of Monroe versions on Roanoke here. I took the A part from kind of the landmark studio recording that Bill Monroe put out back in the day. And then the B part is actually one that I stole from a live recording that Monroe played with Tater Tate on fiddle. I believe it was back in the 80s. So there's actually no recording that I could find from the studio where Bill Monroe played the B part on this tune. So I think it's really interesting that we have this YouTube content now where I can see what Monroe would have played on the B part, and in fact that it's nothing like the actual melody to the B part. So really cool stuff. We'll have a link down below in the description to that YouTube video so you can watch Monroe play his version of the B part. Before we get out of here, leave us a comment below and let us know, is Roanoke a tune you've played, and do you play a version of the B part? Because like I said, Monroe doesn't have a recorded version of the B part, so typically we have to steal from the fiddle players, but I'm real interested to hear what you folks have to say. So let us know below in the comments, alright? Thank you so much for checking this video out. Good luck with your mandolin playing on Roanoke, and we'll catch you in the next one, alright?